Hey everybody, Crunky here. Just wanted to let you know that today's podcast is a solo interview due to the time zones of everyone involved. From time to time, we may have to do a solo interview. Anyway, sit back and enjoy this week's episode. Welcome to Go Lurk Yourself, a podcast about streaming on the internets. My name is Crunky.
And I'm Cherry Cake. We aim to bring you regular interviews with your favourite streamers to find out more on the person behind the webcam.
To give you more of an inside look into how they got started, what their goals are, and what keeps them coming back to stream.
Today we're speaking with Brutal Nerd, a streamer from Australia who plays 3D action games like the Dark Souls series, Neo, Bloodborne, and the like.
Good evening, Brutal. How are you tonight? Or is it daytime there?
It is definitely morning here. And thank you.
Yeah, I forgot you're from the future, aren't you?
Exactly. It is 10:30 a.m. Yes.
Okay, so it's like 8:30 p.m. On Monday night back here in the States.
Mm-hmm. Yep, so 10:30 a.m. and Tuesday here for us in Australia.
Nice. So have you streamed yet today, or are you going to stream this evening?
I am going to stream straight after our podcast, actually, our interview. Yes, definitely.
Oh, sweet. What do you got on the docket for tonight?
But so I usually do some co-op stream with Mr. Brutal, and I'm normally just a DJ and drinker half the time because he is a much better gamer than I. Don't tell him that. We won't.
I don't know.
We won't let him. Yeah, we won't let him listen to this podcast, right? So
there you go.
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, today it's his choice. He says today.
Well,
so probably some Darksiders and a bit of GTA 5 actually, which is not my game style at all. But I'm happy for him. A little. I don't drive well in games. Let's say that. Darksiders I love, and I said yes. My viewers would probably love to watch some Darksiders because I am quite a Soulsborne channel, as you know. So yeah, I think people will love to see some Darksiders. So we're definitely going to do that first, I think.
Well, speaking of your channel, what made you come up with the name Brutal Nerd?
It actually is a nickname that was given to me many, many years ago, probably about, so we're talking kids in the days of MySpace. MySpace, yes.
Okay. Well, I'm older than you, so I remember when MySpace was a new hip technology that all the kids were doing. That's
correct. So I'm a big fan of metal. If anyone who watches my channel will know that. And so I used to design, some banners, some that sort of thing for some metal bands, right? And
like
I also
Backstreet Boys and NSYNC and those types.
Oh, absolutely, those types of brands. No more the bands where you can't read their goddamn logo. So those types of bands, right?
Right.
So one of the lead singer, I think it was, started calling me Brutal Nerd, and it just stuck. And it's been Brutal Nerd ever since. So when I started streaming, what other name am I gonna have than my nickname that stuck with me forever, which was Brutal Nerd.
Well, so, you want to take that friend out for a beer because it's a good name. It fits you well, and it makes a good Twitch name.
That's it. Thank you very much.
So, I don't know. How long have you been streaming, by the way?
I believe it's been about 5 months now, I think.
Okay. I was sitting here thinking when I met you, and I think it was around February or March.
Yeah. It doesn't feel that. I keep thinking April, but it's definitely longer than 4 months.
Yeah.
So I think it's maybe, let's go 6. I think around 6 at least.
It's probably a safe bet. I think I started really looking into Twitch maybe last fall. And I followed him for a very specific channel that I knew from outside of Twitch. And I thought, what is this Twitch thing about? And I opened it up and oh my God, all these people are playing games. And I've been a gamer for a long time. So first thing I did was pull up Dark Souls games. And late at night, who is this girl with half blonde, half black hair playing Dark Souls? There just aren't always a ton of girls playing it. So I was really intrigued and I checked you out and you were super nice and really good at the game. It was pretty awesome.
It was the best thing that happened in my life of meeting Crunky.
No, you mean streaming. So to you, what has been the best part of it from streaming?
Of streaming, the viewers. It has to be the viewers. I mean,
the social interaction.
Yeah, I love gaming anyway. Gaming is my life in a way. apart from Star Wars. All right. So gaming, Dark Souls and Star Wars are my biggest loves of my life. So
so Star Wars gamings are like the apex, right? Star Wars games.
Yeah, except let's not talk about Battlefront. But you know, the little community of people who come in and they make you laugh, or they be like smart asses, and it makes you laugh. And
or make you rage.
Look, I haven't really had too many of my viewers make me rage.
Oh, I was talking about me, not you.
Oh, right. You get the odd person who gets on your nerves, but the best part has been how much laughter that I can get out of my channel from my viewers. And sometimes I'll fail literally and die too much because I'm laughing at my chat. So,
and that, of course, makes everybody laugh harder. I had the last episode was with a streamer you may know named Chichin Law.
Oh, Chichin Law is one of my favorites.
Yeah, he knew you too. He said that you were a great streamer and loved watching you play Dark Souls. But we were talking about how sometimes it feels like the best streams you're playing, and then all of a sudden the night's over and you're like, oh, I don't even, what games did I play? How far did I get? Because you were really engrossed in the conversation and the social aspect of it first.
Oh, I feel like that every stream. Whenever I turn on to start stream, I'm like, where was I in this game?
Where'd the time
go? Almost every stream, I am like, okay, so at the moment I'm doing Bloodborne and G1, and I get in and go, okay, so what boss am I at again? Because last night was so much fun and I forgot where I got to. So yeah, it happens a lot.
Nice. So I've known you for, let's just go with 6 months. And one of the things that I found most intriguing about your history of gaming that led you into streaming is, I watched you play Dark Souls and Bloodborne, and you're just whipping through, in Dark Souls 2, whipping through content like a champ. And then you got Hollow Knight, I want to say 20 minutes into it, that you finally, it came out in conversation that you had never played a 2D platformer before. And I'm like, holy cow, how does that happen?
You can't bring this up in this podcast. I'm just going to rage even thinking about Hollow Knight. And I'm saying you can keep that in the podcast. I just think it's hilarious you're bringing up Hollow Knight. It makes me rage that much.
Okay, let's not talk about Hollow Knight specifically, but what I'm more fascinated is I'm terrible at different kind of games and better at other kind of games. What I'm fascinated with is you have at least from my perspective, an atypical path into gaming. You started out later in life than a lot of gamers do.
Absolutely. Even with the internet, I had my first computer at 19, right? So, I am of the older generations, but then I didn't start with music, movies, gaming until my older adult life. So my very first gaming experience was an X360. So I loved things like Halo, and I think when was Dark Souls on X360?
Yeah, I think it came out in
Dark Souls 1?
11.
So someone in my workplace, because I work in a nerdy environment, was like, you should try Dark Souls. It's hell, basically. And I'm like, oh, this is so intriguing. And that's where it kind of all began, really. And then I got into some, I tried some shooter games, that sort of stuff. And it just wasn't my cliche. It wasn't my thing. I love hard challenges, more what would you call it? 3D, not platforming, I guess.
3D action adventure games.
Yeah, more open world, a little bit, and so forth. I had never played your old school games unless it was with my boyfriend in my younger years on a drunken night, having a crack at it, thinking I'm so shit at this, putting it down. I never really gamed those old school games. So the 2D platforming, was super hard for me to try and do.
I wouldn't feel bad about not being great at Hollow Knight off the get-go, because it is one of those games that brings to the table that you've played 2D for a ton. It's a retro throwback that's hard right off the get-go. So it's perfectly understandable. You never had to learn how to walk in that 2D environment. It makes sense to me. I wouldn't feel bad about it at all.
Mr. Brutal is, in my opinion, I put him on quite a pedestal, quite a great gamer. And even where I'm up to in Hollow Knight at the moment, he's like, fuck this game, rage control, see you, controller, no thank you very much. Who wants to wall jump and then try to dash across some spikes?
Yeah, everybody, you're not wrong to have that opinion, but you remember too that some people say the same thing about Capra Demon and rage quit Dark Souls forever. So it's it's what people like.
Right, exactly. You have to have a passion about it to continue.
Exactly. So speaking of Dark Souls, am I to take it that's your favorite game of all time if you had to pick one?
Oh, absolutely. DS1 is my ultimate. Yes, for sure.
I figured it was, but I didn't want to make any assumptions. So why do you think that is?
Oh, wow. I think it's the challenge, and it's the adrenaline. It's the feeling you get when you beat a boss, or the feeling when you clear an area and make it to the next bonfire. There's nothing like that feeling.
Especially Dark Souls 1, right?
Maybe jumping out of a plane, but Brutal Nerd's never jumping out of a plane in her life. No, thank you very much. So for me, my adrenaline rush is, this boss is so hard. Hell, it might take me 3 or 4 hours, but god damn it, I'm going to do it and I'm going to beat it. And at the end of it, there's nothing like that feeling. You almost want to physically cry because you have done it and you feel on top of this world. So yeah, that's how I feel about the Souls games and why I play them, because they're hard. Yeah, they get harder, but you don't give up and you keep going and you keep grinding, and that feeling when you make it, there's nothing like it.
I definitely know where you're coming from with that. I probably have told you this in chatting on your channel before, but I rage quit Dark Souls twice over 6 months and never thought I'd go back. And
right.
So, that one boss you kill early on, that dopamine response or whatever they call it, definitely kept gnawing away at me. I'm like, you can do it. And when you beat the third boss, you're like, well, if I can put up with it this far, I can go to the next one. And the next thing you know, you can't get enough.
Look, because I was so new to gaming when I started, and one of my first-ish games was Dark Souls, I cannot tell you, it wasn't hours, it was weeks. It was that first Undead Burg, the amount of time, I can't even believe I was like this back then. The hours and hours just to get through Undead Burg. I think, man, I would never stream that shit now. You know what I mean? Like,
well, it's different when everyone's watching. There's a little bit more pressure there.
It's like, man, I was so bad at this game. And yet, even now, I think, I'm okay at this game. But then I see my favorite streamers that I guess we're talking about later, but like Chichen Low, and I think, oh my God, and I am streaming Souls games. Look at Chichen, he's amazing. And like, he's about to do speedrunning soon of Bloodborne. And right now in NG1 of Bloodborne DLC, I am struggling, man. And I'm like, F this game. But I'm so determined to get it, because I know that feeling that when you beat it, there's nothing like it. So, I'm going to do it.
I hear you. Well, speaking of overcoming challenges and the rewards thereof, I know since you and I have been hanging out, you have recently undertaken joining the PC Master Race, or at least stepping into that pool. What are your thoughts so far?
Loving it. I feel like, my peen is this big now. It's great. Are we allowed to say that on the podcast?
Yes.
This is, a higher podcast, right? For ages. So look, the best thing I'm loving is the graphics. My dual screen. Oh my God, so good. So if I had a before and after picture of my hardware setup, oh my God, what a change. Because I was originally Elgato through a Mac. Yes, a Mac. That I have my
Mac?
So now that I have my PC, I have so much flexibility, and it's made so much easier for gamers and broadcasters. I mean, you've got your Microsoft software. It's so much easier for everything you want for your channel, whether you're going through Elgato or through PC gaming itself. I have both options now. And those Steam sales, guys, stay away from them. That's all I can say.
But it's not been without its challenges, right? Learning the hardware.
Oh dear God, yes. So yeah, I mean, I think without your help, especially. It has been difficult. I mean, I was self-taught a lot of all my Mac setup, right? When I changed to PC, yeah, it's hard to get everything set up again. So you feel like I've already been through this. I don't want to do this again. I just want to stream and game. I don't want to do this other rubbish to get on my stream. But you do. There's tweaking here and there all the time. And there's always challenges. I mean, I've seen some of the best Twitch channels out there with 200 plus viewers have technical difficulties. It happens to all of us. And I think you need to remember that, look, it's okay. Stay calm. Fix it. Carry on. You know,
I know exactly what you mean.
Challenges.
I've been dealing with PCs since like the early 90s, and I still run into trouble and get pissed off and rage on my stream, and happens to everybody.
Yeah, absolutely. Or something. And you always want to grow. So you always want to do newer things, have newer functions for your viewers. So that brings more technical difficulties. So they don't ever stop, really. It's as you want to grow, you're going to run into more issues, and that's where you just have to take it on the head and go, well, I overcome those, I can overcome this. So that's how I look at it.
I beat Capra Demon, I can beat the Centipede Demon.
Exactly.
For those of you who don't play Dark Souls, those are Dark Souls bosses. So, you know, you've been streaming for 6 months, and you've come from having just as an aside here, when I first saw Brutal stream, she was playing some funky stretched out aspect ratio on PS3, and she was getting about 10 frames per second and I was like, I couldn't help myself. I'm like, hey, what, let me look at your settings. You need to do this, you need to do that. And I had literally just started. The only reason I was so adamant at pushing my way in is because I had just gone through it. And I was like, I can help you real easy. I've already learned how to do all this stuff. And then she's like, but I got a Mac. And I'm like, wait, a what?
Yeah.
But
yeah.
In when you decided to start streaming, were you watching Twitch on the regular? Did you see some speedrunners or some other gamers? And if you did, who were those people that inspired you to start?
No one on Twitch inspired me to start. So I'm going to say that straight up. I started streaming before I watched any streamer at all. I'm a little bit different to everyone else. Yeah. So
that's great.
Right? So my situation is totally different. A lot of my good pals in real life and my in real life son bros, one particular, my bestie's husband said, you should be a streamer. I was like, what? You game quite well. You know, you play a lot of Souls games. You're good at it, blah, blah, blah. And I was like, okay, I might check this thing out.
Let me jump in here real quick and explain that Sun Bro is I have to remember that not everyone listening to this is going to know. Right. So a Sun Bro is basically her friends, her really good friends. Sun Bro is a character in Dark Souls that means good friend.
Oh, hello there. I will stay behind to gaze at the sun. The sun is a wondrous body, like a magnificent father. If only I could be so grossly incandescent.
So like a person who, it's a co-op, basically.
Right.
So these are my in real life co-op buddies, right? That's probably the best way to
Warriors of Sunlight.
That's it. So yeah, they were like, you should stream. So I looked into it, started setting up and doing it. And then I was doing, I think I did check out a couple of channels. I was like, oh, I like how they have those follow alert things. Oh, that's cool. That's this. How do I do that? And everything I self-researched and self-taught. That's pretty much how I do most things in my life. Google is your friend. You know, you just look it up and okay, I'll try this, tweak this, tweak that. And a lot of it was all self-taught. And that's, you know, I've come a long way from my very first VODs to now, I think, even in 6 months. So, and then you want to spend more and more money on more and more things.
Right, exactly.
For your setup in your house. So recently I've just I'm going from a cheap, you know, green screen setup to, yay, something's being delivered on Wednesday that's going to make it so much better. You know, so things you tend to spend more and more money. So just be wary of that.
Yeah, I know exactly what you mean there. So what would you say the benefits in real life you've seen from streaming? Has it affected you either in your work or interpersonal relationships?
So it's brought some positives and negatives.
Okay.
Shall we deal with what first? Let's go negative first so we can get them out the way.
There you go. In on a bright note, right?
Right. That's exactly right. That's how I'd like to do it. Negative, you love it so much you never want to stop doing it. So it can interfere with maybe your sleep patterns, eating, time with your partner, etc. So that can cause some issues. Yeah, so those can be the negatives, I guess. You got to watch you have, still get your sleep, still eat well, drink lots of water, as they say, while you're streaming as well. Time with your partner can be interrupted because you're having such a good time. But I mean, that can happen when you're a gamer anyway. And luckily, both Mr. Brutal and I are both gamers. So I'm a very lucky female and in a lucky relationship, because I know there's relationships where only one person is the gamer. And it's like, stop gaming, get off your goddamn computer.
Right.
But luckily, if you're both gamers, you both love to game all day, and it's what you'd rather be doing. So it's cool. Positives, massively. It did affect my work because I had to get used to talking to people all the time. I found I was talking to people in my work more. Yeah, I'm a very business-like in my job. So get the job done. Yep. See you later. Cool. Done. But I became more friendly. Is that the word I could use? Maybe
outgoing. Maybe.
Yeah, more, because you have to do more filler chat when you stream.
Yeah, it's easier to make small talk with your coworkers, your customers, or whatnot.
Yeah, it became easier to do that. Whereas I'm quite a standoffish person, and I didn't feel comfortable doing that. I hate small talk. Like, I actually hate small talk. It irritates me. To become more used to that and be able to do that in my real life was a real benefit, I think. I became more outgoing, more happy. And not only that, streaming gave me something to look forward to when I get home from work. So it wasn't, work, get home, and then you think about work, and work sucked today, and blah, blah, blah. It became, I can't wait to go home and stream and talk to all my viewers.
Yeah, I could see that for sure.
Yeah, definitely. The other thing would be my mental health. So I said I would touch openly about that in our podcast today with Cronky, is that I have had 2 diagnoses. The first one was major depressive disorder. My second most recent diagnosis last year was complex PTSD. There is a lot of people, I think, who game who have mental illness, in my opinion. I don't think we realize it. There's millions of us out there, and a lot of us don't talk about it because of the stigma attached to it. It's getting better, but I'm very open about it on my channel. I mean, I've nearly cried on my channel sometimes because I have been trying to stream when I'm not well, but I'll stream anyway because it helps with what any therapist will tell you, whether it be a psychiatrist, psychologist, a counselor. They will tell you that you need to practice mindfulness. Mindfulness is trying to be in the present. When I game, I can't think about all of my issues or traumas or anything like that. I'm focusing on, I'm going to beat this boss, and I'm having fun with my viewers right now. So that's a massive benefit that has been brought to my life. Another big thing with mental illness is you need to have goals and something to look forward to in your life. So if you have suffered from major depressive episodes, or if, I hope it's okay to say this on the podcast, I hope I don't upset anybody, but if you have gone through things or times when you're suicidal, which is an awful thing to go through, and I've been through it quite a few times in my life, you don't want to be in bed all day because that's how you get worse. And it's very, very hard that once you're in that state to get yourself out of it. So now I will just jump on my stream. If I feel like crap, I'll jump on my stream. If I feel great, I'll jump on my stream because it's keeping me focused and getting me out of that loop of getting on a downward spiral. So, yeah.
I would say that's a pretty big benefit then to streaming if it helps you alleviate some of those concerns or at least lessen them.
Absolutely. I mean, I have a lot of anxiety issues too, and look, it's hard at first, and you will find it's hard at first. If you have major anxiety talking to people or being social, guys, I'm a hermit, the biggest hermit you're going to meet, and so is Mr. Brutal. We're both hermits. We're not social people. but this has made me social, and it has made me connect with people again, and I love it. It is a way for me to comfortably, safely be connected to people and be social and have a great time. And yeah, I can't even explain it. That I love it. It's really made a change in my life.
Yeah, I mean, anecdotally, I've only known you for 6 months, but I've only known online streaming Brutal. And for you to tell me right now that you're a hermit, you're antisocial, it's like hard for me to imagine a version of you that was like that, because you've been very outgoing, open-minded. And, I've been in your stream late at night because of the time zone difference. It's usually late when I see you. And sometimes everybody gets some trolls or some people who you don't, are kind of hard to deal with. And you don't take any crap from anybody. And I was like, yeah, she's tough. I heard that's brutal nerd. She doesn't take any crap. And to hear you say, I could definitely tell that this has had a positive impact on you.
I am a very vulnerable person. Like my shrink even said today, your username's I still can't get over that your username is Brutal Nerd, because she knows a so different side to me than everyone else. I mean, I guess everyone, it's not that it's a different side to me, it's all of me. But in real life, some of us struggle. We struggle a lot. And we're just not social people. But the internet is different. I don't know. It's just different. Yeah. It feels
to wear
different.
Whatever masks we want online, Well,
I don't even wear a mask. I think I would wear a mask more in real life than I ever do on my channel, actually.
I guess that's a better way of looking at it. You're not wearing your mask when you're online, that you are in person, Yeah. Well, so I really appreciate you talking about that. I know that can't be easy to discuss, but as Brutal said, if you find yourself down, I'll put some links in the show notes for anybody that would like to seek help. I'll talk to Brutal after the stream to get the ones that she would recommend, unless there's some that you know off the top of your head, Brutal.
Well, I would only really know Australian links, most likely. But
okay. I'll put the international ones and the ones for that I can find. But I really appreciate you talking about that. I know that must have not been something easy to do.
I am pretty open about it, and if you guys come into my channel, I'm pretty open about it on my streams as well. So I hope it doesn't upset anybody, but it instead inspires people. I don't do it to get sympathy, empathy, any of that. It's to show I'm doing it, you can do it too, and I'm here with you. So that's my message.
A pretty noble thing, I think, to be able to step up on the stage and say, hey, we all deal with these things in some worse than others, in a manner of speaking. Come hang out with me and we'll talk about it. We'll hang out together and we'll get through it together. That's pretty awesome.
Well, there was a fellow streamer on Twitter saying he was really struggling. I said, man, come hang on the channel. Come hang on the channel. And he did. It was just, come hang, man. Just come, just come sit in the chat. Let's chat, let's play. It's all about your community. I mean, our community is, my community is very, very tiny at this stage, but I love it to death. So it's about growing your viewers who are supportive there of you, and you are supportive of them as well. So, it's a two-way street. I'm not just here for me, I'm here for my viewers.
Speaking of your channel, if you had to describe it in like one short sentence or one word even, how would you describe it?
That is so hard to do. Mature audience only.
Yes, it's a place for adults to hang out and have a good time.
Oh, look, between my rage and swearing and my drunk streams on a Tuesday with Mr. Brutal, it really is quite a mature audience only. But, we have so much fun. Gosh. Determination, man. Challenge and determination. Dark Souls is life and life is Dark Souls. That is one of my favorite quotes that I've either seen, read, or made myself. Who the hell knows? But, that's how I would explain it. Dark Souls is life, life is Dark Souls. Come hang out.
That's great. So another question that we like to ask, and it might seem a bit cheesy, but I like to ask this. If you could go back in time and meet yourself the day before you started streaming, what words of advice would you give yourself the day before?
Ooh, that's interesting.
Would it be to stream more, less? Would it be to change your expectations on what streaming is going to do? What would you say to yourself?
I don't think it'd be stream more or less, because I've kind of streamed the same amount the whole time. Probably too much, because I love it. I think it would be like anyone also says and this is pretty much what any big streamer will say to you, never look at that viewer count. Ever. Don't look at it. It's not about that. It's about look, I'll chat to myself for an hour and have the greatest time. And then someone will pop in and I'll be like, oh crap, oh hi. Hey,
I didn't see you there.
Yeah, oh yay. You know, one of my favorite viewers is here, because I get in the zone and I'm just hanging out, because you gotta love gaming anyway. You know what I mean? So the biggest thing is getting used to chatting to yourself. So I think, yeah, the biggest thing is don't give two shits about the viewer count, your sub count, whatever. You just got to do it for fun, and things will grow naturally. I mean, you lose in-game followers on a daily basis. Well, I do anyway. So, you know, you got to stop caring about it. You got to care about how much you love doing it each stream and concentrate on that. That's what I would tell myself. Yeah.
That's good advice. It's funny because we've interviewed a couple of people so far, and that's some version of that's what everybody says. Don't worry about viewer count. You know, some people say, you know, look at your layout, pay more attention to that. I wish I would have done this better, this sooner. But I think that's the best advice: is don't look at your viewer count. Get used to and being comfortable with yourself, and the people will notice that and they'll respond to it.
Well, things change over time anyway, progressively. So your channel page is going to change. You're going to go, I want all this on it. Now I don't want this on it. Now I don't want this. I mean, I'm having a big overhaul soon myself. Things will change and grow as you grow as a streamer, and what you kind of want to tweak things all the time. So I wouldn't give myself advice about really how things look or whatever, I think, because you just do the hell what you want. If you want all that crap on your stream, do it. Sweet. Over time, you might go, you know what, I'm going to simplify it a bit, or I'm not. Every stream, you know what, I've seen so many different streamers do so many different ways, and it all comes down to your content. It's not about how it looks. It comes down to, do they like watching you? Do they like the games you play? I think that's what it comes down to. And you've got to remember that. You know, someone might unfollow because they just don't like watching the game you play. I've unfollowed people because, yeah, I don't like that game. They always play those games. They bore the crap out of me. It's nothing personal, and that's what you've got to remember.
That's good advice.
Yeah.
So for people, so let's do a little mini advertisement for your stream for someone who's listening to this, because, you know, there'll be other people's streams on the podcast, and if they go back and listen to previous episodes, they're going to hear, who this brutal chick from Australia, she sounds pretty cool. What would you tell them to entice them to come check out your channel?
I think my biggest thing is my viewer interaction. So I will accidentally probably say goodbye to you 6 times because I want to make sure you know I've said goodbye and thank you for stopping by. I think I make you feel welcome in my channel. I make you feel like I want you there. I make you feel important that you're there. Or if you're a massive streamer and you have a massive amount of, that's why you have mods. So I think if people are going to take time out of their day to watch you or sub you or follow you, they're important. They're your viewers, and they should come first. I don't call out my lurkers, but yeah, come by. I would definitely make you feel at home, and I hope you really enjoy the content.
Whatever can be done.
Let me ask you another question. We have a segment we call the Soapbox, and I think I know exactly what to ask you.
Oh, lol. Okay.
What do you think they're going to do with the new Star Wars movie? What do you think that Rey is Luke's daughter? Do you think that they're going to be that Rey and Han Solo's son are like brother and sister or cousins? You didn't know I was going to get serious, did you?
Wow, I have to really think about this. If Mr. Brutal was here, he'd be on it. He'd have an answer right now.
Well, and I really like Mr. Brutal. He's awesome, and he when you guys stream together, it's fine. But I want to know what you think and what you want to see.
What do I want? You know what my ultimate would be? Lol.
What's that?
She's a survivor of the younglings who got slaughtered.
Like from the prequels?
Yeah, you didn't expect that, did you?
I did not.
Who trained those younglings? Well, it wouldn't have been Luke though, right? Because that was around the days of Obi-Wan. And
from what I've pieced together in my mind anyway, is that they've definitely toyed with this, but she was being trained by Luke when Kylo Ren and the Knights of Ren came and destroyed the Jedi Temple and slaughtered a bunch of the Jedi. Right.
I mean, that's definitely, I think, the way it's going to go. That was just more my ultimate wish would be.
Your fan fiction version. My
fan fiction version. So I'm sorry, I should have explained that. Not of what I think it will happen, because
that's okay. Yeah, it's more okay.
Wouldn't it be amazing if she was a survivor of the younglings who were slaughtered? That would be like so cool. But because I'm more of a dark side person, though, obviously, as you know. Yeah, I think it would be cool if she is Luke's daughter or something like that. I definitely feel like possibly her and Kylo may have had some training together in the past, but it's so open and hard to know at this stage, which is what I love about it, is we just don't know.
Yeah, they're kind of toying with the idea and kind of leading us on, and that's usually good for a twist. Lead you down this path, think it's going to be one thing, and then subvert your expectations.
Yeah.
So do you think or want Kylo to be true dark side and be a villain all the way to the end, or do you think he'll have like a redemption story over the arc of the movies?
I would like him to get more powerful and become like Darth Vader.
And like that's the end of his story, or do you think he like Darth Vader, he'll recant on his deathbed before he dies and bring balance to the Force? Because if you wanted, I mean, my opinion or my conspiracy theory or just like fan theory, I guess, is that the Last Jedi is Luke is going to die at the end of the movie, and he's the last Jedi, and what Kylo and Ren will be, or Kylo and Rey will be, are like mixed light and dark, and they're not called Jedi, they're just Force users. And I think that's where they're going to go with it. That's my gut.
That's really interesting. Yeah. Okay. I would think Rey would become a Jedi, though. That's interesting. Because of the title, it does make it very, how's it going to go?
Well, Jedi is plural, so the Last Jedi could be Rey and Luke.
Right.
And then it still works if Rey's a Jedi and Luke dies. She's the last Jedi, singular, or the both of them. It's very, very smartly ambiguous, I think.
Absolutely, yeah, because you really don't know what's going to happen. So I'm very excited though, but I would like to see Kylo kick some more ass and not be such a sock. My biggest disappointment actually in the last movie was Captain Phasma. I had massive, massive hopes for that character in the last movie. The previews, the workup, the amount of action figures that came out that I, of course, purchased in every size and have all in my room in my cabinet. I was like, this chick is going to kick some serious ass. And Troopers are one of my favorite characters. When I see them in cosplay in real life, I actually fangirl and scream, and I can't get over my excitement. And when I've seen Darth Vader cosplayers in Australia, we actually have have you heard of the Garrison, right?
No.
Oh my God, Crunky, you've just disappointed me so much.
I'm sorry.
So there are massive groups all over the world who are part of the Star Wars fandom. It is very quite strict to get into them with your cosplay build, right? So it has to be very, very much to the T to get into this group.
The Garrison, right?
Yeah, they're garrisons. They're all over the world. I think it's called the 501st Garrison. And then there's different ones. I forget the name of our local one. But I've seen them when they're out, and I obviously go because it was a May the 4th weekend, close to my birthday in May. So my big weekend was go and see these guys all dressed up and so forth. And it was the best day.
Well, I don't know how much you read about spoilers. I won't get in too much spoiler territory, but have you read anything about the new movie at all?
No, I try to not watch too many trailers or read too much because it just takes away the fun. They bring out too many trailers now, I think, for Star Wars.
So you've not read about Darth Jar Jar being in the new one?
Ye gods! What the Misa saying?
Oh my God, don't even go there. Be for real. What?
Oh, I'm joking.
No, I have not read that, and I plan not to.
No, I just for the record, I've not seen any Darth Jar Jar stuff. I just thought you. Well, I think that's all the time that we have today. Can I give out your Twitter address?
Absolutely.
If you guys would like to follow Brutal, she is at brutal_nerd on Twitter. She's very active on there, always tweeting and retweeting. She's a member of Streamers Connected.
Are we allowed to talk about our favorite streamers?
Absolutely. Please go ahead.
Oh, because I would love to give some shout outs to some people who are amazing.
Absolutely. You go right ahead.
We probably watch most of them ourselves together anyway, like we already both follow them. But obviously yourself and your missus, the Sunny D. Chich and Lol. Chich and Lol is amazing. Oh my God, it's Bat Dan, Zed's Arcade, The Dark Madman, Cherry Cake TV, Level Heaven, Noob Gamer from Finland is amazing. Mordos is a great Dark Souls speedrunner. I love watching his channel as well. And another female streamer I think is really, really great. And has a big, massive channel already. Really doesn't need the shout out, but Bloody Faster. She has great content. She makes me laugh. She has quite a variety of games as well. And I think that's the most that I can think of off the top of my head because they're all in my Discord channels pretty much mostly.
And most importantly, don't forget to go to twitch.tv/brutal_nerd and follow her. Check her out because she does great streams. What time on Australian time do you normally stream?
Normally between probably 7 to 9 p.m. on weeknights when I'm working. On my days off, which is Tuesdays and Saturdays, I will try to pretty much do an all-day stream. So from about 10 to 11 a.m., pretty much right through to the night. I might have a quick break for lunch, but that's about it.
And just remember, for those of you guys in the States, that's about 9 hours into the future. So 10 hours into the future, back that down about 10 hours.
That's right.
Well, Brutal, thank you so much for joining us, and thank you to the fans who are listening. You can follow the podcast on Twitter, which is it's at GLY Podcast. Go lurk yourself. Catch us here next time. If you have a recommendation, tweet it at me of someone that you'd like to see us interview. Be sure to go on iTunes and subscribe, rate, and like our podcast. Even if you do a one-word review, it helps us stay on the metrics of popular podcasts and climb those charts. So we'd really appreciate you doing that. And thanks again, Brutal.
Thank you so much for having me. I really appreciate it. Thank you so much, Cracky.
I appreciate you coming by and talking about some of the heavier stuff that you talked about and sharing that with us. I think it's very valuable to do. This episode was produced by Crunky and Cherry Cake TV, edited by Crunky, music also by Crunky. Thanks for listening. See you next week.